This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning and welcome to all our viewers to and beyond Ngala, where we have a beautiful, cool, overcast day and we're looking at a southern ground hornbill. It's just been calling from the top of that marula tree. And far in the distance, you can hear another one responding. You can see a bit of preening going on there as well. As we arrived, the bird came flying into this tree. And it's odd to see only one at this point, where I think the ones we can hear replying in the distance might be the rest of this bird's group. In the direction that he's looking in, that's where the others are calling from. And welcome aboard your virtual safari from the African wilds. So, you can see this bird is running its very long, robust bill through its feathers. Now, during the evening, this bird would have been roosting in a marula tree like this very tree that it's sitting in at the moment, and came flying from the riverbed side. Now, myself, I'm JAPIE, and behind the camera we have Sebastian, and we thought we'd set out this morning trying to look for some lions. But on Ngala, there's no better place to start than the riverbed itself. So we had to come around this way, and we were lucky enough to catch this hornbill in flight. Now, the unique thing about this is it's not uncommon to hear these birds call early morning. And it's a very well-known sound of the bushveld. But to actually get a view of one calling early morning is not too common. What an amazing privilege to see this.
Jumbo, 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 everyone. Another lovely morning here in the Masai Mara. Yes, that is the view I have. The sunrise we have a sunrise, beautiful herd of elephants in front of me, and it's just another very beautiful morning. There was a bit of a chase. Jumbo, everyone. My name is Isaac, and on camera I have Bungay. Our mission today is to try and find the cats we saw yesterday, the leopard, and maybe some lions. And apart from that, we're still looking for the elusive Jasiri. Hopefully we will find him today. But first things first, we have a beautiful herd of elephants silhouetted by this beautiful morning sun. It looks like they've been busy all night, like they always do, and we are happy to be out here in the open. Well, you do have to remember to talk to us on #WildEarth. Questions and comments are very, very welcome. Today, our weather in the Mara. Right now the temperature is around 16 degrees Celsius, and we have no chance of rain this morning. That is wonderful news. Remember to talk to us or send in your question on Kids Question at Wild Earth TV. Oh, Gina, Jumbo, thank you for appreciating that. You say, oh, beautiful. Oh, indeed, it is beautiful. It is such a gorgeous time of morning. That sun is just right for photography, and it's the only time you can take a perfect picture from the opposite side of the sun. Many, many big females in this herd are very pregnant, like the one disappearing to the left. You can see how big she is. I would say, in the next few days, she'll be giving birth. In this herd, there is very many elephants. You see them in the middle there. Quite a good number of them. They're everywhere. And definitely, it is more than one herd. It is not, one herd. It's too big for just one herd. And looks like they're not going to the marsh. They're going out into the open. I'm going to leave them to do their business, and I'm going to go look for my kitties.
Jumbo, jumbo, and welcome to the other side of the Mara, where we have our beautiful sunrise and buffaloes resting. My name is Tim, and behind camera we have Big James. It's that time of the day when buffaloes pick a spot where they can rest. So they take time to rest twice a day, early in the morning and late afternoon. They will go to drink twice a day. So after this, they'll be grazing slowly, heading towards a water point, a water hole. There's a dam not far from here. I'm sure that that's where they'll be headed. As I can see, some of the females are actually headed that direction. It's always reckoned that when buffaloes are resting in such a way, the dominant females always lie down facing the direction that when they wake up, that is where they'll be headed. And you can see most of them are just grazing towards our left, which is very, very nice to see them resting. So they take an advantage of the rains and the grass because they're plenty in number, so they are assured of security. Because of this time of the year, we find that lions have a difficult time looking for prey, so they'll prefer larger prey like buffalo, eland, and even giraffe. But if that is scarce, they'll take other opportunities like warthogs, oxpecker calling. You can see the beautiful Mara from this side. The buffaloes taking the road, some of them are resting on the grass. Oxpeckers are active as always. My mission this morning is to check on the Bilashaka males or the Bilashaka coalition where I last saw them last evening, and then try to see if zebras will be crossing the river again today. So I take you over to another live location.
Something else that is active this morning, the Juma hyena den. Good morning, everyone. We are sitting here with good old Corks, aka the ex-matriarch, and her little daughter. So it's quiet, but they're still here, and I am over the moon. My name is Lauren. I do have Theo on camera today, and we're going to sit here as long as we can and enjoy this scene. I'm hoping that other little heads pop out, but even if they don't, it's nice to spend some really precious time with Corky. Now, we weren't sure what the weather was going to bring to us today, so we've still got our rain roof on, just in case. I don't want to get rained on. And it's quite chilly. It's 18 degrees Celsius, 64 degrees Fahrenheit here in Juma. So it's a very pleasant morning for the hyenas. And Trishala has been quite lucky the past few mornings, as have I. And I think it's because the temperature in general has been cooler. On these extremely hot days, the hyenas are shifting to be more nocturnal. The cubs don't need to feed from their mother every single day. Whether it's Corky, Hard or Ribbon, they really don't have to. So you won't always see the mothers here. But I think when it's too hot, they shift to be more nocturnal, which means when the sun comes up, they need to be in that den sleeping because they're tired. They've been awake all night causing trouble. Hey, Corks. Now, if you look at Cork's left ear, if we take a really, really close look, Theo will zoom in as much as possible. It's almost sliced at the top. That little triangle of the ear is completely missing. We'll get a better view in a minute, and there's also a slice in there. There you go. You see? It's almost like it's been chopped off and there's a small little tear. That's the easiest way to identify Corky. Just look for the left ear. Ribbon's left ear also has a sort of butterfly shape, and Heart's ear, the very, very tip of the right ear is missing. So out of the three most important adults in the clan right now are Ribbon, Heart, and Corky. And you can see just by looking at their ear, you can immediately identify them. You don't need to look for any other features. Corks has a lot of scars and notches and tears. She's battled her way through life, and she's now sitting at the bottom of that hierarchy. June is very easy to identify. She's got a flopped over left ear. Immediately you can see June. And Tima is probably the trickiest one because she's young. Her ears are perfect. Dave, hyenas do not attack people. I mean, maybe there have been some incidences recorded, but generally speaking, they don't attack people. The hyenas here, the ones we're looking at, are, I would say, very habituated to vehicles, extremely habituated. And they are very well known to come into our camp at all hours throughout the night and through the day. So I really don't think we have anything to worry about from a hyena. In places like Ethiopia, there's a wonderful program in a place called Harar. And the locals there, it's a Muslim community. There's one man that decided Hyenas are a fundamental part of our ecosystem. I'm tired of my villagers being scared of them. So what he did, or his father or his grandfather did, was set up a system where they do feed hyenas, and I'm not promoting that, but he brings hyenas into the village to give them food and show the community there's nothing to be scared of. They're not here to attack us. And it's a wonderful story. If you want to research it, it's Harar, Harar, in Ethiopia. And this family have built this fantastic sort of community project with hyenas, if you like, and the hyenas are very habituated and the people are no longer scared of them. It's a wonderful educational program. They do feed, but it had benefits for that area. But of course, if you walk alone in the night here, which I don't suggest anyone does, and you're not allowed to, and there's a very hungry hyena who's maybe been starved for days, I don't know what would happen. They're wild animals after all. But generally speaking, they won't attack humans. They're said to have such high intelligence that's on par with primates. Their cognitive abilities are incredible. They actually conducted tests with hyenas at Duke University and did the same studies with primates, and hyenas absolutely excelled. They solved all the problems that they were given, and they were said to solve them a little bit better than the primates because they did it silently. They were able to solve all the problems given to them completely silently, whereas the primates used communication. I don't know what problems they were given, but their intelligence is said to be through the roof. And you can see that. You can see that in their social structure, in their vocalizations, in the way that they survive out here. It's all very apparent. But the university proved that hyenas have really, really high intelligence. It's an animal's frontal cortex that's connected to intelligence. So hyenas' frontal cortex is said to be good. So we're going to sit here for as long as we can. We are going to send you over to another location with Miss Trishala for a little bit of a silent segment.
I love you.
Welcome back to the Mara. Buffaloes are still resting. You can see some of them are sparring a friendly fight, not serious one. These buffaloes are mixed feeders. So they'll graze on grass and then browse on leaves and twigs. Sometimes if the grass is not accessible or if it's too dry, they cannot go without water for long. So they have to drink on a regular basis, and in times where there's droughts, we'll always find big herds concentrated along the rivers and along the swamps. And also sometimes when they have calves, you see that the number may also increase because there's security in number. While resting in such a way, they're actually ruminating, chewing cud. So that means that they have to produce a lot of saliva to help them chew that grass. There's some scream of hyena screaming, so they've become alert, and I can see some of them are just running away. I can see most of them are quite alert right now. Randy, do buffalo herds have a matriarch? So in a buffalo herd, there's always a high-ranking bull and high-ranking female. So the high-ranking bull always is dominant over the rest of the herd, so dominating also the alpha female, which is the high-ranking female. So there's a high-ranking bull and a high-ranking female. So the high-ranking female is in control of the rest of the female in the herd. Suzanne, how much will the biggest buffalo weigh? He can weigh to about 900 kilos, 800 to 900 kilos. So they always cover what we call home ranges, and these home ranges never overlap, but these home ranges sometimes can be utilized as territories. I'm going to hang around with these buffaloes while I take you over to another live location.
You're from Buffalo to one of the rarest cuts here in the Masai Mara. It's not a joke. When we see leopards in the Masai Mara, it's like Christmas. Unlike in Southern Africa, where my colleagues can see them every other day, here they are very many, but with a good camouflage and also the bushes and competition from other predators, it's very hard to find one. But I'm very lucky. I've just come across this big male just lying on the ground. It's very unusual for leopard here because they always want to be up a tree where they can see anything approaching. And this is the Owino Pride's territory and actually the prime area. So he's risking quite a lot. This one is a male. We know him. He's called the sausage tree male or shepherd's tree male, and he is very big. very relaxed, only about 30 feet from where I am. He rose his head just once, and then he went back to sleep. I left him here yesterday evening, not very far from here, and he hasn't gone very far. Look at the coloration. Those alcohol rosettes, you can tell that, they're not spots, they are rings, and every now and then they are broken, and some of them are intact. Looks like he's hungry. If I look at the back haunches there, I can tell that he's hungry. He will need to eat either today or tomorrow. He's alive. You can see the twitching of the ear. I'm hoping he's gonna raise his head. It's been a long time since I saw his face. Yeah, this is a cat that is very territorial. Every couple of months, a male like this will have to move around his territory and mark the territory using his urine. In his territory, he does have a few females that crisscross it. Because the territory is so big and also is old, I'm sure there is some males that are also crisscrossing. It is very dangerous for other males to trespass if they are found. Leopards don't tolerate one another at all. It's one of the most solitary cats I know. So you'll always find one. When you find two, it's either a mating pair or a female with cubs. A big male like this can easily weigh around 100 kilos. Does he earn? How old do I think he is? This guy, I would give him a good about 13, 14 years. Looking at his eyes, the coloration of the texture of the skin and the coloration of the color of the skin, the 30 ears. I will still have to see the face really well about that. They live up to around 20 in the wild, and more than that in captivity. And leopards are the most widespread cat all over the world. They can adapt to all kind of habitats. He's out in the open completely. There's a few trees not very far which he can run to just in case a lion approaches. But he's no under any danger at the moment. He's just enjoying that morning sun. Remember, the main place where we used to see this guy is at the Sausage Tree Pride area. It's a very long way from where I am. It's almost maybe about 15 miles. It's very, very far. And this is the farthest I've seen him. This is the second time I've seen him this far. He's come quite close to the Olololo territory. And it means in his years, around 9 years, he used to have a very, very, very big territory. I don't know if that tells me that there is less leopards around this area, so he has to roam long distances. But it is a very, very big territory. I'm hoping that he can raise his head so we can see him. He's got character in his face. It would be nice, to share that face with you. And also his size, but Heather, is it possible that he could be ill or injured? No, don't worry about that. He's not. I saw him yesterday. Briefly, he did stand up and he looked quite fine. So he's not injured and he's not unwell. He's just being leopard. When they've eaten, when they're relaxed, they sleep very much like lions do. They rest as much as they can. Usually he would raise his head every now and then, but this guy looks like he's gone through a lot. He knows not to worry very much, so he's not unwell at all. And I think he's enjoying the morning sun because it's been cool. There was no rain last night, so he's not wet, but he's just enjoying the morning sun. This is one reason why sometimes we never get to see these guys, because they're always, very well camouflaged, and in long grass like this, unless you're really, really close, you can just drive past them. And there's no place here in the Mara where there's no grass. Of course, they do say that, there is more leopards here than lions, but we rarely get to, to see, leopards. Definitely, he's alive. I can tell he's twitching his ear. I'm hoping that, either he can stand and start walking. Well, let's take you to another live location while I wait to see what happens here.
A leopard in the Masai Mara, what a treat. That is actually very exciting. They're not seen too often in the Masai Mara, as I'm sure you know. Now, we've been lucky enough to still sit here with Corks and the little one. I think the little one is in a milk coma, sleeping, and Corky's obviously finding it very, very peaceful as well. I think the others must be sleeping inside. I have to say, I'm quite surprised that they're still using this den number 3. It's been a long time. 5 cubs are inside, 2 boys that are growing incredibly quickly. Hart's cubs, 1 male, 1 female, are growing incredibly quickly, and even Corky's little one, who I don't think you can see, but I promise she's there, is getting so big, and yet they're all inside this den. Now, I'll get Theo to give you a look at the den. It's really not that big. It's remarkably small, although it will be deep. It will go deeper into the ground, which is how they keep cool. It's a disused termite mound, and most likely the hole and the sorry, Corky keeps making me laugh. The interior would have most likely have been done by an aardvark or even a porcupine or some other species. Then the hyena comes along, utilises it, and then the cubs will make adjustments. They will dig, they will create their own little games room and their own little utility room. So it will have been revamped over and over, but it's just still a very small mound. Hyenas regularly change dens because of parasite build-up, hygiene, and if there's any sort of present threat, they will move. There's been lions here, there's been leopards here, and yet they're still here. They seem to really love this den. I can't see Cork's belly, but I imagine it's huge. I think she's full. Never allowing herself to properly fall asleep. Because Cub is here, she's always on high alert. And many of you worried about Corky's little daughter, and she's thriving. She's absolutely thriving. She may never be the biggest girl. She may never be sort of in the position of ribbon, but she's thriving. And although Corky wasn't always seen suckling, it is said that the lower down the hierarchy you go, when you're a lower ranker, you won't feed often, but when you do feed, that sort of nutritional content of the milk, that milk transfer is a lot higher and of better quality than what Ribbon would be feeding the boys on a regular basis. It can't be that the lowest ranker is put in a position where they become vulnerable and they can't survive and they're weak. Therefore, no hyena clan would survive. In nature, there's always balance. There's always an offset. Just like in the human body, there's always an offset to compromise. And the compromise here is that although Corky's daughter may not get milk as often, the milk she's getting is far superior and better. And therefore she's still thriving. Corky had Plonk last year, a boy, and now she's got herself a little girl. A little princess. And I followed the clan last year when Corky was matriarch. But what surprised me this year is the sort of unit bond between the cubs. They're all very gentle and tender with one another. So I think we're going to sit here a little bit longer, and you guys are going to head over to a wonderful silent segment with a spider.
Welcome back to the Mara, where we've come across the big herd of elephant. Every day, every morning, elephant herds gather here, slowly heading towards the marsh. And sometimes other families decide to cross the Mara River into the Musiera Marsh, where it's on the Masai Mara Game Reserve, while we're here at the Mara Conservancy. Because of our short rains, the November-December rains, which last for about 5 to 6 weeks, there'll be more elephant concentration here because there's lots of grass and enough water for them to drink. You can see the big matriarch actually on the lead. You can see she's actually the biggest of all the rest of the females. They do a very good job leading them back and forth. Of course, they're the oldest females within a herd. They're the most experienced, and the rest of the family members rely on her for such life condition, because in times of drought, in time of danger, she's the one who takes control. They're super intelligent such that she can understand Karen. Even though an elephant herd is large, the role relies on one matriarch. So she's in control of each and every individual, and she has the ability to understand each and every individual. She knows each and everyone personally. She knows their communication, and she can really tell if each and every member has stress or whatever situation that the member is going through. So that is the role of the matriarch. They know each and every member. The two young bulls sparring. Test of strength. The one to the right looks a little bit bigger, so soon he'll be graduating out of this herd to form or to join other bachelors who have already left their natal herds. Once in a while, when they're on the move, they will eat on grass and then pick a spot where they'll actually eat the shrubs and the bushes. Like right now, you can see they're busy feeding on the kappa bush there. So they can also graze and browse. Leaves and barks of trees add up a nutrient into their diet. Factor, do they have special intelligence to locate water? Elephants have special map routes in their brain. So whenever they walk through this savannah, wherever they are, they have that memory where they really know where to find water, where to find mineral. So they solely depend on the matriarch, because she's the one that will take them to a place of water during the drought or a time like this, and for mineral. So they have special maps that they have put in their mind where they'll use in certain climatic condition, be it drought, be it rainy season. So that depends on the matriarch. So that map is always followed by the entire family because it's being led by the matriarch. It's indeed amazing how they retain that information. To just add on that, elephants never forget, as they say. There are lots of people coming to see the elephants. You can see that two young bulls still sparring and chasing one another. Zay, why are elephants so aggressive during mass? It's because the testosterone level is high, and that leads to more aggressive and making, because elephants will demand respect, they want more space. And so that is one of the times that makes it more dominant. So that triggers their anger because of the testosterone level going up high. So that is solely because they want to dominate over other non-mask bulls, and that period can last for about few months depending on several factors. Let's say, for example, the bull is an area where the climatic condition or the body condition of the bull position is in a hierarchy, so that can trigger them to be aggressive. And because the mask positions the bull into a more secure position and a dominant position where the hierarchy and give them better mating opportunities. So that is why they are always aggressive.
Yes, my leopard has revealed his face. I hope he turns around, and now it's a matter of just a few seconds. He might face us, and it's going to be, lovely just to see the texture on his face. This is a guy who has gone through a lot. Look at him. Okay, a little bit more. He is a very, very big guy. He is at his prime. And to see a leopard allowing me to be with him this close, here in Demara, it means he has been through a lot. He has seen vehicles, and so he is not bothered. He is a very big guy. I would assume, looking at his weight, he's about easy 100 kilos. And so definitely, this guy can bring down, beautiful, look at that. Whoa. Yeah, that's always a good sign that either he's gonna stand up or roll over, get comfortable. Yeah, this guy can still kill for himself. You saw those canines are intact, and so he is able to continue hunting for himself. Look at them. How cool is that? Yes, I don't know what's gonna happen, but anytime I think he's gonna stand up, and it's just gonna be beautiful. Okay, look at that. A little bit of cleanup just before getting up.
So we've been checking along towards a riverbed, and we just had a troop of baboons going up that big game path there, where that impala's walking up. Now, unfortunately, we've lost the baboons. You can still see the impala moving there at the back, just the horns going up and down as the head is plucking off the grass. So it's a small bachelor herd of impalas that's been following this troop of baboon, and they have been, you can hear the oxpeckers going there as well. And that's probably because they've been moving into the thick bush now. Now, the baboons probably roosted nearby in one of these big trees during the night, and then the impalas come, and the impalas follow them usually to hope for any fruit or anything that might fall to the ground as the baboons are feeding up the trees. So it's a bit of a mutual relationship there, where the impalas benefit from them, and also for the baboons it's extra company, an animal that's on the ground that can keep an eye out there. Now, the troop of baboons in this particular area is quite a large troop. In fact, there must be at least 100 of them, and we only caught the tail end this morning, with a couple of the males sitting to warm up in the riverbed. This morning was quite cool, and it will heat up quickly this morning, so then you find that the animals try to warm up after the cool morning before they start going with their daily activities. Now, we're driving the riverbed in this section. We're hoping to pick up on any tracks. We had tracks of one lioness that cut towards this section, and we were hoping that it might be a lioness that's got 2 young cubs, and that probably put them somewhere in the riverbed where they're safe, while she went off to go hunt with the rest of the pride during the night. Well, I think we're going to continue with our plan and see if we do get to pick up on any signs.
Well, our leopard is a bit active now, and look at that face. That is a face with character. This is a leopard that has seen a lot. It has been roaming these plains, and you can tell by the behavior, very content, acting like a boss. He has been cleaning himself for quite a bit now, and I think very soon he's gonna start moving, and that's what I'm waiting for. It's just amazing. Those are chances that we always look for to find a leopard like this here. Yeah, the size of his face. He's a fully grown, very old leopard. Donna, how many teeth do leopards have? Let's start counting now. They have 4 canines, about 8 incisors in between the canines. So we're talking about 12, and then 8 and 8, 16, about 28. I'll say about 28, I would say. I'm not 100% sure. I can't actually really remember, but about 28 to 32 teeth, something like that. But I'm quite sure that they have 4 canines, 4 incisors, about 4 carnassials on either side. So it's 4, 4, 4, 4, yeah, about 30, I would say. Somebody might correct me. I haven't looked into that very much. Yeah, I'd say somebody just corrected me. I think about 30, 32. And he's turned away from me. He's facing the other way. I'm hoping he's gonna wake up right now and start moving. Look at those whiskers. That is one way of identifying these cats by researchers. Lisa, he looks awesome for 14 years of age. I agree with you totally. You know, he looks really, really healthy. I might be older, but that is my guess. But he looks, you know, that age. You see, as they age, most animals tend to relax very much. In elephants, even rhinos that are very skittish, I've seen this kind of behavior. So definitely, he's seen his better days. I think the best thing to do is to reposition and look on the other side so that we can have a better view of his face, and that's what I'll do. Just hold on there. Yeah, the light is just fantastic, you know, to see his face. Look at that. Beautiful. I don't know if we'll be able to get him from here, but this is the best we can have without disturbing him. You can tell that he's got a dewlap, that is the skin hanging below his neck. Yeah, this is a very big leopard. See that? Yeah, when you see that, means that it's a fully grown leopard. A bit of yoga, cleaning up his, you know, gadgets or his, testicles. It's amazing how far they can reach with their tongue. They're so flexible cats. They can reach most parts apart from their upper back. That is one of the only few places they cannot reach. And that tongue, very much like a cat at home, it's very rough. Yeah, I give it, you know, sandpaper number 6, very rough. If it leaks the human, it would just rip the skin off. He's gone back to sleep. Looks like it. Definitely 100% is the sausage tree male, and he's decided to come a very long way, because normally we are not able to get to where he is, but he has come quite a long way, which is such a bonus for us. Look at that arm. Lions at his age would be very, very immobile. They wouldn't be doing very much. They'll be very much dependent on the rest of the prides. But a leopard is still very active at this age. I think he will be getting up. I don't know when, but definitely he looks like he wants to. And it's going to be another bonus to see his size. Yeah, that licking, he always cleans up of, dried up blood, either on his paws, beautiful, or, removing excess skin or, hairs. Yeah, I think the best thing to do is to stick here for a little bit. Let's find out what's happening in another location.
We are bumbling our way across some very hectic terrain here to go and visit another mother and cub of the spotted variety. We left Corky and her cub, and now we are going to see another mother and cub across in Torchwood. But the rains have made the terrain quite tricky, so it's taking us a little bit longer than anticipated, but that is where we are heading now. Very excited. I'm sure you've all guessed, but it's Miss Tandy and her cub. They're on Torchwood. I just hope that they're not in too tricky an area, and they have another kill. I visited them just 2 days ago, or possibly yesterday, and this is a different kill. So the predators are, of course, making very much use of the feasting. All the lambs that are dropping, all the rams that are not paying attention because they're confused with all the female hormones. There's oh, that dung beetle must have been dead. This is the exact same one that we spotted yesterday, and it's in the same position. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Dung Beetle. I'm just going to pop off and give this a little prod. I thought it was alive. Oh, yes, it's dead. Sad, sad. I'm not obviously going to pick it up, but this is the one we came across yesterday, and it's sadly not alive. In this midden. Hopefully with the rains, though, we'll see more dung beetles and we will see more termites. I had my earpiece off there, FC. If you were talking to me, I was off the vehicle. Okay, so we're going to bumble on to Tandy, and we're going to send you back across to Trishala for some peaceful moments by the dam.
Well, finally he's on the move and looks very lean. He hasn't eaten for quite a number of days. I don't know what is in his mind, but definitely he's on the move. I don't know if it's more rest or maybe trying to find something. Could be that he's finding a comfortable spot to rest by the look of things. But definitely this is one massive leopard. No leopard would like to mess with this kind or with this size leopard. Leopards are amazing because sometimes you find them walking very aimlessly like that, but usually they have pinpointed something, they've smelled something, and they go for it. You can see it's looking to the right. I don't know exactly what it sees or smells. To see this size leopard is always a bonus, and it takes many years for anybody to see this kind of leopard out here in the bush because they're not very common. Okay, what is happening? Did it go into a warthog hole? Interesting. Okay, it has gone into a warthog hole. I don't know exactly for what reason. Maybe earlier on it had seen something go in there. It's very risky to go inside like that because warthogs are very, very dangerous. They can come out with lightning speed, and with their tusks they can really, really cause harm. Most leopards and lions lose their canines from warthogs getting into holes like this, but also it could be something different. Mind you, I've also seen leopards taking refuge in holes like this. It looks like he has rested inside and I cannot see him anymore. Now it's a waiting game because if he stays more than 20 minutes, it means he is resting. And if he comes out, or if he starts seeing him, I can say, okay, there he comes out, here he comes out. Is he going to come out with something? No. I think he was just smelling, making sure there's nobody inside. Look at that. Yeah, sometimes they go in and come out with a gift. A very big surprise. Oh, look at this. He's going to walk towards us. How amazing is this? What happened now? You want to turn around again? Yeah, this is the best leopard I've seen all year. How cool is this? And that is a big boy. Beautiful. Yeah. It's just amazing, guys. I don't know where he's gonna go, but looks like he's coming our way. This is a really, really good performance by him. Definitely, you can tell he's not worried at all about anything. And leopards are actually one of the only few cats that will eat anything from tortoises, insects, fish, and I think that's the reason they're so successful and they do really, really well. Okay, looks like he's found another resting spot. Just beautiful. I think he had seen something go into that burrow, but it's too deep inside, and so he has decided not to go in. Now he's just headed our way, and it's just amazing. Never gets better than this. And there is a tree right behind me. I don't know if that's where he's gonna go. But he's coming right in front of me. Okay, he's gonna come right in front over here. You're gonna see him. Yeah, there he is. And he's a big boy. There is a tree right here. I don't know if he's gonna climb the tree. It's just amazing. He's gonna sniff the tree first. Actually, rub his scent onto that tree and then pee. That he's marking his territory, telling everybody that he is around and who he is. That's just super. And out he goes. He's actually, okay, there, a bit more scent marking. You know about that behavior. Trying to put more scent onto his hind feet, and so when he walks, he can spread it all over. From this direction he's heading, it is deeper in towards the Olololo Pride, Pride territory, and this is very, very risky for him. So I don't know what's in his mind. Okay, anyway, I think I'm gonna stick here and let him walk a little bit more, then I'm going to follow him.
From the leopard back to the elephant, we have an elephant bull that is in mask. Look at the way he's walking. They always walk in a staggering manner. You can see how the trunk is swinging from left to right. Unfortunately, because of the sun, we cannot see the urine dripping on his hind legs. So that is always a sign of elephant bulls in a mask. Because the wind is actually blowing to a direction, I can smell this strong odor of that testosterone level in that urine. So elephant this size can be about 40 and they come into mask when they're that age, and almost twice a year they get into mask. So to find or to have a hierarchy in the bachelor herd, that is one dominant thing, that when coming into that mask or the level of the testosterone level is high, making them more dominant over the hierarchy. Elephant females within herds always prefer such big mature bulls, especially the matriarchs. Young elephants below the age of 25 don't get into mask, but then they can still mate. That strong odor that comes from the testosterone level also attracts females within those herds. Look at how he's walking. I'd like to see him walk into an elephant herd and see how the rest of the members will respond. Younger bulls always have to be submissive to such bulls whenever they're in that condition. I'm just going to keep on following him for a little bit. He's walking away, so I'm keeping a distance away because elephant in this state demand respect, be it from us human, be it from elephant. So I'm just going to keep my distance. I can't remember the name of the viewer who asked what role or what help, how does it help when elephant come into mask? Good thing we've come to across an elephant that is in mask. So I'm just going to follow him and see what he's up to. I can see elephant herds walking towards the marsh here. So as I keep on following this elephant bull, let me take you over to another live location.
made it into Torchwood. And here we have Miss Tandy's son. He's sitting on top of a damp mound, panting away. They have a kill off in the distance. Tandy's here too, but we're just going to keep an eye on the cub for now. And it's an adult impala, or it used to be an adult impala. And that is a good thing, because the population of lambs is seriously decreasing out here. Oh, aren't you just adorable? But look at the size of his paws. They're huge. He's going to be a big boy. Now, nobody knows the father. If he could collect his scat, that would be excellent news. It's definitely, in my opinion, not Tingana. You do not look like Tingana. You don't. There's lots of suggestions that it could be Mulwati. Mulwati only really made an appearance around here in 2018. And he's a difficult male to spend time with. He's so skittish, which is rather sad because all the other leopards in this area are very habituated. So there's a feeling it could be Mulwati. But until we get the DNA, you really can't say. But I just feel, looking at his features, you look like Mulwati. You do. Very handsome. There's lots of cubs in the area now that I actually feel could be Mulwatis. And Trishala was lucky to see Shadulu yesterday, and I think it's very much confirmed. There's no suckle marks. I've heard the reports from the west as well that I think she lost that litter, which is incredibly sad. It does happen. Look at Tandy. She will go on to mate again. And if she mates with Hukamuri, although we all love Hukamuri and they've made the perfect little Hukadulu, she'll spend more time in the west. But if she successfully mates with Mulwati again, it might draw Shadulu east. There's space for her in Juma, and that means that we could possibly spend a lot more time with her in her next litter. So who the father is and who the female has been mating with, paternity is really, really important, and where the female spends her time. We can give you a view of Tandy's, about 25% of Tandy. Her paws, her bottom. And what remains of that impala up here. There you go. There's Tandy. And that marula there. But I think is much better viewing of the son who's just sleeping next to us. Of course, he doesn't have a name yet. We normally wait till 1 year to name leopards. It will be a collective effort from all the stakeholders. Normally, it's the place where the leopard was found. And this little one was born in Juma. Or so we believe. Spends most of his time in Torchwood now. Tandy's very much shifted. She's gone back to her sort of natal stomping grounds, if you like. I wonder if part of that is also to avoid Tingana and the likes of Hukamuri, because Tingana used to be very dominant over Juma. It appears that he's not anymore. And that also makes me think it could be Mulwati. Could also be Quarantine. Mr. Q. I can't wait till I meet Quarantine. So we are going to sit here and enjoy the peace and quiet. And talking of peace and quiet, we're going to send you guys over to Trish.
Welcome back to the Mara, where our elephant bull in mask has decided to go for a drink. It's always nice seeing such a giant come to a place where he'll drink. There's fresh water, very nice, clean, and cold, running all the way from the Lolo escarpment. And I think that's a good place to quench his thirst. They walk long distances, these elephant bulls. Very nice. So it's reckoned once the elephant sips water into his trunk, that can amount to be about 10 liters. Sometimes the trunk is not full, so I would say maybe 5 to 10 liters. Oh, he's blowing some bubbles there. He's deciding on whether to sunbathe. You can see he's resting his trunk on the sand there. Gail, the difference between the masked elephant and a rogue elephant is simply a rogue elephant is an elephant that is aggressive because it has been disturbed and then wants to push everything out of his way. Or we find most of the time when an elephant comes into contact with maybe someone on a walk, or maybe you parked the vehicle in a way that has blocked their way, that elephant can be distracted, can be really, really aggressive. So rogue sometimes can be triggered by stress. Because they're almost like human, they also have what you call post-traumatic stress disorder. So you find that once that stress can be triggered off, that elephant can result to be a rogue elephant. Now, when you talk about mask is a condition that elephant bull always come into. You find that the temporal glands will be dripping. So it's a great psychological and behavior change of life, where elephants come into mask about 2 times a year, especially for old bulls like this. So you find that urine will be dripping on his hind legs, and there's an odor that is very, very strong, a chemical component that we call testosterone, that is very strong. In fact, wind blowing or changing direction coming to our side is making it more unbearable to sit here because of that strong odor. You can see the temporal gland always forming a dark liquid that is dripping from his ear. So that is the difference between a rogue elephant and an elephant in mask. So an elephant in mask also can be aggressive and not rogue. After a nice drink, sometimes they can lemon lime. He has some beautiful tasks. Indeed, I think he's decided not to dust bathe. I can see a big herd approaching, so let's see what behavior and how they respond to this bull in mask. He's slowly approaching them. So within those herds, the elephants that have calves, let's see their response towards this elephant bull. There's some young males. Let's see also their response on how they'll behave towards him. It will be so interesting when such big bulls in mask walk into elephant herds. So that's the elephant herd just close to the bull, and he's slowly approaching them. So when he gets to them, he'll always be analyzing if some of the young females and maybe the old female might be in estrus. And it gives a high advantage to him because once the females find an elephant in mask, they'll be more receptive to him than elephants that are not in mask. Old mature females always prefer such big bulls, and they're the ones who choose who to mate with. Especially the matriarchs, they'll never mate with the youngsters. They'll never mate with young bulls below the age of 25. They always prefer such large bulls. So he's slowly heading there. Let's see the reaction. Okay, that female has decided to walk away from him. Okay, come on, what do you want here? By walking around, he's actually placing his trunk on the female's genitalia to smell or to get a scent if they might be ready or maybe in estrus. Look at his enormous size in comparison to the females. Such a gigantic elephant. Dr. Octobong can a herd's matriarch ever lose their status? I'll only say they can lose their status when they're forming the new herd or new group. So when a group divides or splits up, the sister second to the matriarch always leads her blood relative to form a new herd where she'll be the matriarch. And it's not reckoned that elephants will always vote for a matriarch. So I'll say the status may be if they find that the big lead elephant is not suitable to take or to carry on through their life, then they might pick another opponent who will be maybe their sister to lead them. But herds that have always followed one particular matriarch that matriarch will never lose their status. So, for example, the only way that a female or matriarch can be out of that hierarchy is only death that can take off the status. But bond groups, that we always call them bond groups, when they separate from their major herds, they always pick a matriarch. And so if they're not suitable, so they'll always pick another matriarch. It's so interesting watching how he's walking from one female to another, just check on their status. I'm going to keep an eye on this elephant herd mingling with this bull as I take you over to another live location.
Well, from elephants, I still have my beautiful and the one and only shepherd's tree male. He's been walking from one tree to the other across the grassy plains, marking his territory from one tree to the other, and every now and then he's lifting his head, trying to locate something, walking very, very, very casually and slow. That is the highest point that he has sat this morning. How beautiful is that? Yes, they have amazing eyesight. I don't know where he's leading me to. I'm hoping that he's gonna look for breakfast. Yeah, remember that leopards are found all over Africa. And they're the least, endangered or threatened. They do very, very, very well. And they feed on anything, like I said before, from insects, fish, spiders. So versatile, so makes them really, really successful. A cat that is so aggressive, I would compare it to none. Very fast when it needs to, can catch top speeds of up to 60 kilometers an hour. A male like this, weighing up to 100 kilos, can bring down its prey. Can bring a prey, 3 times its size, almost a toppy. So it is a very, very, very powerful cat. That's how quickly they can disappear in the long grass. And the grass has gotten very, very high here. And so I have to keep constantly finding him, driving close to him, so I don't lose him. I would like, not to lose him and see eventually where he takes me, because it's such a good find. It's one of those rare finds here in the Mara. And this is one of the oldest living males I know here in the Mara. How wonderful is that? And he's walking in the long grass, hoping to spook a reedback, maybe a warthog. From a distance, you will mistake him for sure for a lioness because of his size. He's such a big guy. You would think, it's a lioness until you look closer and you see that white tip of tail and also, the rosettes. We do hear a lot of sawing from leopards than we see them here in the Mara, and it's actually a very distinct, sawing sound. Goes like this, but much finer and louder, and we do hear that more than we see them, so we know they are around. Like around camp, we do have a resident one that we see lots of tracks every morning after rains. Yeah, that white spot is what really gives it away. I hope it doesn't walk into the Owinos because this is their territory, but it's going at the edge now of Olololo and Owinos. I hope it doesn't walk into lions because lionesses will not hesitate but to kill it. That's how high the grass is. Very high. Yeah, let's try and get closer again because I don't want to lose him, and he's walking quite fast, but he's being very careful. Every now and then I see him raising his head and he's looking. That tells me that he's being careful not to walk into lions. Very soon he's going to have a very good vantage point where he'll be able to see a long distance, so he can pick up whatever he wants to go for. I cannot see him anymore. Lots of termite mounds here. Yeah, he's a long ways up there. We have to keep that distance so that we don't break that safety distance and interrupt what he's doing. Or maybe there he is. He's up in a mound now. That is a good vantage point. He's able to see prey. I'll leave you with that beautiful sight, but I'm gonna continue following him, see where he takes me.
So welcome back to our elephants. They seem like they're all relaxed, knowing that the big bull is around. So respect is in command. You see that one is slowly walking out of a ditch. Very nice. Little bit of a tough job there. I think I'm surrounded by elephant. If I look right up on my front to the right, I can see lots of elephants, and it seems like a very interesting behavior because I've heard the elephant herd that is on my right. They are all making some rumbles. Not quite sure what's happening there, but we'll soon go and investigate. I think there's a point of interest there. Just going to check on the female status. You can tell there's a communication going through. They've all frozen. He's slowly putting his trunk on the genital area to check if she might be in estrus. this bull in mask can last for a few days and sometimes a month, depending on the age, his age, depending on the area, climatic condition, and also the position in the hierarchy that is in. So you can see they all stopped once he's got into there because the mask helped them secure a more dominant position within the society that they live in. Marco, I've only seen that once when they got aggressive to the cows, and I think the reason why he got aggressive to the cow because there was a herder. So not often that we'll see them being aggressive to cows, but elephants have their social life. They also, like humans, there's some condition where that can trigger them to be rogue, and I think one of about every 10 elephants they can go into a rogue status. So Marco, not always that we see them going rogue or aggressive to cows, but since they have personalities, they can sometimes be aggressive to either cows or other domestic animals. It's very, very nice. Some of the elephants are walking into the small stream. If you look carefully on each and every elephant, there's a temporal gland secretion. But the one on the bull, because he's on mask, is more conspicuous. So both males and females can produce that temporal gland secretion, which is of a different chemical composition to the mask. So the mask secretion is more watery. So that when you look carefully on the bull, the temporal secretion is dark, conspicuous, as opposed to the ones that the other elephants have. The other thing is the normal temporal secretion lacks the distinct mask smell.
And we were quite fortunate that some of the other guys out on the reserve this morning were able to track down this pride of lions. And as you can see, it's getting a little bit warmer now in Ngala. They're out in the open, laying in the sun, most of them. There's one over there that's just moved over to the shade. And it looks like she's really trying to hide her head away from the sun. Now, judging from the calmness in these animals and what we can see from the size of their bellies, Like that one there at the back, you can see it's bulging. She looks like she's almost fast asleep. Not even the ears are twitching at this point. And I think we missed something, quite a large event yesterday when we didn't find them because we didn't have any tracks. Everything rained out. This morning we were lucky enough to pick up the tracks in the same area where they had the last tracks yesterday. And I think that these lions have probably killed something big within the block here. And they've been feeding on it during the night. The other interesting thing here is, except for one of the small cubs, all of these are lionesses. And they don't look particularly full. None of the males are with them at the moment, so I think the males might still be finishing off the remains. So there we see one of the younger cubs. I'm not sure whether that is the male or the female. It's tough to say from this distance and the way that they're laying. I can see two large females at the back. And then the rest are all younger females. At this stage of the morning, I know they went for a drink of water earlier and then they came to settle here at the clearing. You can see some of the younger ones have their heads up and are staring around. I can't help to wonder whether it is because they know which direction the rest of the pride is. And more or less in this direction that this little one is looking. You can see a little bit of restless behavior. Alpha dog, good question. Do lions hunt baboons? Yes, in fact they do. I have seen a lion eat a baboon before. It will be very difficult for them to hunt baboons though, due to the fact that baboons are very agile climbers. They're quite alert. They always have their scouts out and they don't really miss anything. But I know that they do. I know in East Africa, for instance, there are a pride of lions that actually specializes in hunting baboons. You can see that little one just picked up her head. I'm wondering because the larger... So both of these are cubs actually. In fact, I guess the one at the back one can refer to now as a sub-adult. The one in front pretty much still a cub. And I wonder if that one picked up its head because it thought that maybe when the other one walked past it would have given it a rub up against the cheek, or maybe a quick lick on the bypass. Something that the lions within this pride often do, just to acknowledge each other and show some affection. And that way they strengthen their bond between them. There is a nice cool breeze blowing. It's not very strong. And part of the reason why they're laying out in the open is because that helps them cool down. And at this point, these lions would be busy digesting as they're laying here. And that digestive process often creates or generates quite a lot of heat. And on very, very hot days, especially in the summertime, you see the lions struggle heavily with the heat in that case. Linda, I don't think these lions hunted the prey that they were eating last night during the hunt, during the night. I think they might have actually given it a go during the daytime. Lions do the majority of their hunting during the night, but they will often attempt to hunt during daytime. In fact, most of the hunts that I've seen personally is either early evening or late morning, when most animals are unsuspecting. On an overcast day like we've had yesterday and today, it's not that hot, and the lions do use that opportunity to try and hunt if the right opportunity comes along their way. You can see the little bit of, looks like mud or dirt on that one's chin. I think that's from drinking water, probably one of the muddy pans within this area. They also didn't have any need to move far out of the area. There are water readily available after the rains yesterday, and that's why they stay within this area. So I think we might sit here, see if they do get or do decide to move, and see what they do. So we're going to go over to Trish at Djuma with a silent segment.
Listening to the sound of the bush is always magical. You get to hear sometimes what you did not expect, and that's how we always sometimes locate animals. Now back here, our elephants have gathered on this little stream. Some of them are drinking. I can see the young calves are eating grass, but just having an easy way where that calf on the bank is just biting the grass from his mouth with not using the trunk, and the bull is resting his trunk on the tusk I can see a female towards the left, nibbling on a stump or a little branch, holding it with his trunk. Some youngsters actually sparring. Some are resting, some are standing, some are dusting off the grass. Very, very nice. Linda, how long can elephants go without water? Sometimes elephants can go up to a week, but not for the little calves. So the reason why sometimes they drink lots of water, so they can drink to up to about 45 gallons, 170 liters at a go, at one sitting. But because of the availability of water, they don't have to drink that much on a daily basis. So at least they drink twice a day. So the longest they can take is sometimes up to a week. And that sometimes can be stressful to the young ones. It's a nice combination of sound and watching these elephants, the little stream flowing and the elephants drinking. Just want to hold a moment of silence as we listen to the stream and watching the elephants drinking. Oh, that little one is trying something that I've never seen before. You can see he was balancing with his front feet. They found a peaceful spot where the sand is actually wet, moist, where at least they can rub against.
Look at this little one, king of his own throne. We've had to work a little bit with signal here. I think the weather is playing havoc on the signal, but we're doing our best. Oof. It was a big yawn. Now, he has this very unique little appearance where his pink tongue hangs out regularly. I think it's just a juvenile thing. It gives him quite a hukamuri appeal. I can't remember if I said this already, but he was born in March this year. Whatever year we are in now, it's been a long year, hasn't it? And he was part of a litter of 2, but unfortunately, 1 didn't make it. So this is the only remaining youngster of Tandy's right now. And he should be named in roughly 3 or 4 months' time. He's got a lot of growing to do. This is going to be one big male leopard. You just need to look. It's like a puppy. He doesn't quite fit his paws. He doesn't quite fit his body yet. He looks a little bit awkward, as most young animals do. It's so wonderful to spend time with them both. We had them both the other day, but they were deep, deep, deep in a drainage. At least now they're out in the open. Linmar, you're right. They're so independent. He's very much with Mom right now. She's in the marula, snoring her head off behind us. But the solitary life of a leopard means that they are taught independence from a young age, and it's quite admirable. They really, really, although all the leopard cub wants to do is be with Mom, they need to learn how to survive and thrive out here on their own. They need to learn what to eat, what not to eat, what's painful to touch, what's not painful to touch. Oh, we're going to move. Hopefully not too far. Go and see Mom. Look at his little awkward body. He's tiny. But yes, Linmar, I agree. Leopards are so independent. I have so much respect and admiration for female leopards. I really do. You see, his ears are moving independently. There's another vehicle approaching, but he's constantly listening, looking. Everything catches his attention. He's hyper aware. I think he's still a little bit nervous. There's another vehicle. Gets a little bit nervous around the sounds. Linda, absolutely. Panting is just breathing. It's just called panting because it's at a rapid rate. It's just breathing. It's inhalation and exhalation. And we breathe, we don't really pant. Maybe some of us do, I'm not sure. And he's just panting fast because he's maybe a little bit too hot and he's full. It's completely normal. It's just their way of cooling down, really. We sweat, so we don't need to open our mouth and cool through evaporative cooling of our mouth. We sweat. So this is not the best views, I'm afraid. We'll try to reposition, and you're going to go over for another beautiful silent moment with Tswalu.
here we've gone from very little movement to absolutely no movement. You can see there's not too much happening, not even ears flicking or tails twitching. That one's even stretched front left paw out over the dead branch. Almost as if she's fallen asleep while trying to stretch her claws or grab onto that branch. Now, with lions, and this is the picture that people often picture or imagine when they do get to see lions during the day, is just sleeping lions. But it's actually quite interesting. It's not often that you get to see a whole group fast asleep like this. There's always something, one rolling around or one flicking tails being... You can see that little eye just slowly opened and closed again. And that's the thing about this predator, and it's what makes them so remarkable, is even though they look fast asleep and like they're not doing much, they're constantly paying attention to their surroundings. There's a small watering hole not far from where they are. And there are animals moving to and from that. And I think they have to be aware of what's going on around. There's also the possibility of the rest of the pride showing on. At the moment, we can only see 7 of the lions, which is 6 lionesses, 2 older ones, the rest are sub-adults, and then the young female and her brother, which is that little lion right there in the middle. In fact, I'm just going on a hunch here, but from what I know from these ones, he is the lighter one out of the 2, and he also looks slightly larger and stronger built than his sister. Maybe that's why he's a little bit more alert. He realizes that he might be the future protector of a pride, and also trying to exercise his senses. Now, we do know that once the young male lions like this one gets older, they get posed with a lot of challenges. And the first challenges for the first year is just to survive. If they do that, then the other challenges started. Trying to learn how to hunt, trying to make sure that they get enough food around the carcasses, even within their own group, to be big and strong. Jerome, in this pride, there are 18 lions all in all. That includes the 2 males that are the fathers of the cubs and all of these young ones. And then other than the 2 males, there are 6 older lions. And then there are 8 of the sub-adults, and then the 2 younger cubs. That one laying right there, that's one of the sub-adults. And she has actually got a sister And that's the one with her belly and her face facing us. And I'm not sure whether one of the larger lionesses, I can't see clearly, but it might be that she might be the mother of these two. Have a look at that one, the eyes half open, with the cheek in the dust or in the dirt. I think she's gone into a dip of deep sleep there. Now one of the reasons why they do sleep like this during the day is it helps them with regulating their body temperature to an extent. It helps them also not to expend too much energy. A creature like a lion, even at this age, spends a massive amount of energy when they move at night time, when they have the advantage, when it's cooler, and also when they're hunting. And that's why during the daytime we mostly find them laying down like this.
So our elephants have decided to go on a rest while some are walking out, heading to graze. You can tell there's a communication that went through. Previously they were all resting and just throwing some sand onto their body. And the matriarch communicated saying, we need to move on. Sometimes it's also interesting asking myself so many questions. What goes through the elephant mind? What makes them come to a place like this? What makes them stop? What makes them move? And how well they communicate. That is very interesting, that whoever came up with that knowledge of knowing elephants communicate in an infrasound really helped it out, because we can see that it's actually an infrasound, because there was no any audible noise coming out from the elephants. They just slowly started moving, and that's definitely the infrasound that went through. Because water is so important for elephants, and that's the reason why they came to that water hole, drank, and then decided to go. So these water holes are visited daily, and for some reason they're used by other animals. And elephants being the keystone species, you find that in places where there are dry condition, you find that elephants will always dig for water thanks to their tusk. And so those tusks help them excavate the sand, and sometimes they use their forefeet and trunk, then carefully suck up the water. So at a place like where we just saw those elephants, looking carefully on the bank, they've dug that out, so making it even more suitable for these elephants to come and drink. Now they're slowly heading back to the marsh, where they'll spend the rest of the afternoon and then come back in the evening. See, I can see the other elephant herd way further up on the screen. So they'll always join into these marshes, they'll join to feed and then separately walk back. So once these elephants gather at a place like that, they'll always be following the mother's communication, the matrix communication, because because they are key responsible for the matriarch, because once they mingle, they cannot understand another matriarch's communication. So the key role of the matriarch really helps them whenever they congregate in such places. Watching these elephants walk toward the marsh, I'm going to send you over to Trish for a silent segment with her beautiful elephants.
I'm still with my big male leopard. He's been cutting through crossings, cutting through grass, crossing streams, looking for something, and he is on a hunt. Finally, I've come to realize he is hunting. And this area has got a lot of warthogs. So the decision I've made is to stick with him for a little bit longer. Where he is, he can actually see a little bit farther. So he's just scanning to see what he can go for. This is a very, very, very big male leopard, and he's very close to the road. From a distance, you would mistake him to be a lioness, like I said before, but he's a very, very big boy. Yeah, first time I've seen him out in the open. Look at him, how big he is. A very, very strong animal, very aggressive, equipped with very good senses, and this is one heavy one. He's walking like he doesn't care about any other leopard. The only thing that would worry him here of predators would be, a lion or a lioness. Jerome, what is the lifespan of a leopard? In the wild, I would say around 20, although some people would argue that they can live longer. And in captivity, I think they can live for over 25. So they live less out here because it's very, very, very hard. Remember, this is an animal that spends most of its life alone. You rarely get to see two leopards together. And they're very, very successful. I think he's decided to go to the bathroom before continuing on. Right now, where he is, as you can see, I can see down, he can see really well. So if there is something, he can really pinpoint where it is. This is one, enemy number one to the Maasai people, because leopards are very secretive, very shy, and also their good camouflage makes them hard to spot. Also, their nocturnal behavior makes them, really hard to detect at night. And so they come to villages close to where I live, and they are the biggest culprits in taking goats, dogs, and even sheep. They always patrol villages, hoping to find that Josh, thank you for your question. Are there many leopards in the Masai Mara? Yes, there are very many, but to see them is very hard because of the terrain. Long grass can hide very many of these guys. Every day I drive and get back to camp, I sometimes think of how many leopards I've driven past, and sometimes I think even 10. And leopard is another cat that you'll only see it when it wants to be seen. It can disappear on you. While you're watching it, it can go through a bush and there it goes, disappear completely. So it's one of those animals that are very hard to see or spot if you haven't seen one, or if it doesn't want to be seen. So they are there, but very shy, very secretive, and with their good camouflage, makes them very hard to see. Suk, how do leopards hunt in such an open area? Well, they have an amazing way of stalking. It's one animal that I believe sometimes it walks on its belly, because they can really go down on their haunches and walk almost on their belly. And they are the best stalkers of all predators. Usually they stalk their prey until they're almost like 6 feet away. Then they pounce. That's how good they are. I've seen them a couple of times where they actually just pick up a scrub hair, off the ground, off the grass, without, the scrub hair noticing, the leopard was there. So they're very, very good stalkers and very, very patient. With their camouflage makes them very efficient. They do very, very well. I don't see anything as far as I can see, and I don't know where he's headed. It'll be very interesting to eventually see where he goes, but you can see how open it is. If there's something, you could see it. Let's follow him for a little bit longer, see where he goes, where he takes us. Could be interesting. This morning, he went into a warthog hole and sniffed it. I thought he was going to pull out a warthog, but there was nothing. Now I don't know exactly where he's headed. So we're just gonna be very patient with him and see. Could you repeat that question? What do they have on their skin? I didn't hear that. Looks like do leopards have spots on their skin as well as on their fur? Very good question. I would say they have it on their fur. They don't have it on their skin. The behavior he's portraying right now, he has spotted a warthog hole, and the twitching of the tail tells me he's sniffing the air and he's getting ready to go and check out that warthog hole. Maybe there is a warthog. Let's see. They're very patient, leopards. And at his age, I think he has learned or mastered the art of hunting warthogs. He has sat down, and it's another behavior, tells me he's hunting for warthog. There is a warthog I can see. Well, I think this is so beautiful, but I'm gonna stick here for a little bit longer. Let's send you to Trishala, see what she's got on it.
So welcome back to the manor where we've left the herd that was drinking, who went away to the marsh, and we come across another herd that is just grazing. They've been here for a little while. When we were watching that elephant bull, this herd was still here. There's 3 families here, so that is one big family. There's one to our left, and to our further left, there's another one. It seems to me like there's a bull that walked into this herd, and you can see lots of the female that just holding up. You can see the bull to the right. When bachelor bulls walk into these herds, they always stop what they were doing. They just watch them, because some of the females actually are in fright, or some of the younger bulls, and you can see they're always protecting their young ones. Look at how they've circled and placed the calves in the middle. Now a younger bull is approaching one of the females. Seems like there might be a female in estrus, and that is one of the behavior that we always witness in elephant. See, like they're pushing him off. Jerry, will an elephant adopt a calf that is not hers? Yes, elephants are social animals. So in these herds, their sisters, their aunties, their cousins. So what happens if a mother is dead, or an elephant calf loses her mother or his mother? The immediate family member in the bloodline will always adopt that calf. Zay, what are the biggest tasks that I've seen on an elephant? There was one big elephant bull. His name was Tim. I used to love watching that bull. So, unfortunately, the elephant died from old age. He had tusks which weighed about 80 and 85 kilos. The tusk was so long that they could actually touch the ground. We have very big tuskers. We have elephants that I cannot disclose their location because of for their safety. We have still elephants that have very long tusks that they literally touch the ground. So maybe I would say about 2.5 meters in length. So what's happening here, there's an elephant female that might be in estrus, and you can see there's a bull just following them. In order to ensure the best gene for their offspring, female will always pick a suitable male which is older, and then the female will more likely select when it comes to mating. But you find sometimes when those big males are not present, German gypsy, it seems like elephants in the Mara have white tusks. I think the reason being here is we are currently in our short rain period. So when it rains, lots of the time you find that the tusk will be cleaned off by the rain droplets that will clean off the mud on their tusks. But if you come during the drier weather, you find that their tusk will be covered in cambium. That's a component that is always on the barks of trees. There'll be lots of mud and brownish color from the soil when they are digging for minerals. So it's only because of the rain.
So we've left the sleepy lions and we've come over to a pile of elephant dung on the edge of a watering hole, and there you can see a red-billed oxpecker just landing on it. And you'll see it's picking up parts of that elephant dung and then going into that hole where the other one's sitting right at the top. Now my guess is, I've seen about 3 around here, so my guess is that it is a nesting pair that's actually started lining the nest on the inside with dried out elephant dung. The material's quite soft, the dung looks very, very old. And the reason we see more than 2 birds is because they usually have quite a lot of helpers. Mature chicks from previous broods. And what a safe spot, right next to the water's edge. It looks like an old leadwood stump, more than likely. It's a very, very hard wood, solid wood. You can see a large pile of gathered plant material from that elephant dung. And that's all they're doing, flying straight back to the hole and then back towards the elephant dung. It's quite interesting to see. The one actually made space and the other one waited its turn to go in. Now this is a part of oxpeckers we don't often see. Ooh, we've got some Egyptian geese with some goslings. Look at them all huddled together. Trying not to stray off too far from the group. In the waters here, you never know what might grab one of them. And they do look quite different from the adult. And this is the first time I'm seeing the goslings here, so I'm assuming it must be relatively recently that they've come around. Here we can see what looks like a southern masked weaver. can see their nests right on the tips of the branches overhanging the water. Jerry, we have two different types of oxpeckers. We have the yellow-billed and the red-billed oxpeckers, and then you can see these are red-billed quillias. Look at the bright red color of that bill. Now, the oxpeckers we were looking at is the red-billed oxpeckers, and that's also because they have a bright red bill, and then the yellow-billed has a partly yellow bill. Also slightly larger than the red-billed. There's a lot of bird life around this watering hole this morning. It's quite interesting to see. And it's not too many very large mammals except for the hippos. And I've even seen these oxpeckers sitting on the hippos on occasions. Hippos do pick up quite a lot of parasites on their sensitive skin during the night time when they go feed in amongst the tall grasses along the dry riverbanks. And the oxpeckers often gather on top of them, even if it's just to bask in the morning sun. Like these hippos are doing. Not very active. I think they must have had quite a long evening due to the weather. It was nice and cool. And made their way back to the water this morning. Now, what's interesting with the oxpeckers is this is actually a nest in a dead tree near a big watering hole. It would be a very good placement of a nest. It's the best spot to start out from in the morning. There's always large herbivores or animals covered with ticks that do tolerate the birds. Come down for an early morning drink, especially in summertime when it gets hot early on. So that gives the oxpeckers the chance to grab or latch onto one of those and then at least spend time on them while they're in the vicinity of the watering hole.
Well, today I've decided to stay with this huge male leopard, and he is hunting. He spotted some warthogs, but they left in a hurry. Now he's in a race spot, looking at, the grass, looking everywhere, and something just spoke to him, and he's just really focused on something now. What is he looking at? I think there is a few warthogs off to my left. Yes, he stood up. He has seen them, I think. Let's see. I don't know if he's going to hunt. Yes, he has decided to head towards the warthogs. So let's see what's going to happen. It looks like he loves warthog because this morning we saw him actually sniffing a warthog hole. He went inside. Usually it's very dangerous because that's how lions and leopards lose their carnassial teeth, because the warthog usually comes out at lightning speeds hitting them, and that's how they lose them. I don't know why he still got them, but he looks like he loves warthogs. That's how they start, leopards. He is walking much faster. If you can actually tell, much faster than the whole morning how he's been walking. I'm actually positioned in a very good spot, so I won't have to move very much. And it can be very messy when they hunt warthogs because it can be very loud. And this guy right now, he's not going for very fast animals. Warthogs are on top of his menu because they are much actually low to the ground, and I can actually stalk them very close before pouncing on them. He's only about 100 meters now from where they are. I don't know if he still sees them. They're off to his right. I don't know if he's heading the right direction or he didn't see them. Yeah, he's still doing very well. Heather, is there anything the leopard cannot hunt? No, they hunt almost everything. Everything, as long as, it's out here in the plains, it's meant to be eaten. They'll hunt anything. He's walking like, he doesn't care. He hasn't started stalking. I don't know if actually he's going for these warthogs that are right in front of him. You see them there? I don't know if he's going for those ones. I don't know really if he's going for those ones. Yeah, I think he's picked up the warthogs now. Yeah, I don't think he was going for those ones, but he has picked up that they are there. Yeah, the warthogs didn't know that he was going to go past them, but now it looks like he has gone into stealth mode, and very soon he's gonna start stalking. He's quite close because they're on the same frame. Leopards are very well adapted. They hunt fish, they hunt, birds, they hunt everything. Now they're on the same frame. He's going in. It can be very tense. Leopards, remember, are much more successful than lions and cheetahs. I don't know if it's going to happen. It only will happen when it happens. It can get very exciting. The good thing about leopards is that they can go really low on their haunches, almost, they can stalk almost touching a warthog before pouncing on it. I've seen that a few times. He's doing really well. He's getting close. The warthogs have got no clue what is just about to hit them. It's getting very exciting, guys, but from where I am, I cannot really tell you the distance between the leopard and the warthog. I don't know if it's close, I don't know if it's far. We're just gonna wait and see. They're just there. Something tells the warthogs all is not well. I don't know if you ask how sharp is the warthog eyes. Yeah, they have very good eyesight, warthogs. Yeah, I don't know if the warthog... Oh, how sharp is the warthog hearing? It's very, very sharp. It's very, very good. Yeah, they can hear rasping in the grass quite quickly. So I don't know if they hear anything. Something can go very wrong, and they run towards the leopard, and that would be it. The sixth sense that doesn't exist is telling the warthogs something is not right, because there's no way that they have seen the warthog, they've seen the leopard. They are trying all they can, the warthogs, to try and pick up whatever is around, but they haven't seen him. If they did, they would be out of there. Hunts sometimes end very badly because you want the leopard to eat. At the same time, you want the warthog to survive. And so it can be almost happening, then all of a sudden tables change and the leopard loses. So until it happens is when we're really gonna say it has happened. The leopard, you can tell the tail twitching. That is a sign of, focus, aggressiveness. Definitely the warthogs don't know the leopard is there because the warthog is facing the leopard, but something tells the warthogs all is not well. warthog senses are very good. Hearing, sight, and smell, very, very good. But because they're very short, they can easily be stalked by many predators. You can tell the leopard is just lifting his head to try and see what's happening. I think the sixth sense in warthogs has kicked in, and Renee, do I think the wind is in favor of the leopard? Let me see. No. Actually, I think over there it keeps changing. That's why the warthog might have picked up. You see, it's heading from, the wind was heading from actually east to west, and I think they picked up a whiff. And that's how a hunt sometimes just ends. Can be very exciting at the beginning, but it ends like that. So the warthogs leave to say, we thought there was something and that's why we left. Okay, let's take you to another live location.
That was a very intense moment. You always wish the best for both species. So I'm not sure what becomes more heavy than the other, but it's nature. But here we have our elephants who are closing in towards the vehicle. It's very, very nice. We're surrounded by elephants. It's a nice feeling when they always come towards us. We always give them space. We only want them to be free as possible. So it's always a delight when they walk closer to the vehicle. Elephant mothers with calves can be a little bit aggressive. So we're always careful when approaching them with such youngsters. Just listening to them plucking the grass is amazing. The reason these elephants come to such places where there is favorable grass for them to feed is because of the matriarchs, who are the oldest females in the group, and they have the environment knowledge, such as where to find water in the dry season, where to go when they need to find nutritious food. She knows which other species can be dangerous, such as lions. She can also distinguish between human voices, which is very, very interesting because we are living in an environment, in a place where it's not fenced. We are harbored by neighboring Maasai community. So sometimes elephants walk through their settlements. So with that intelligence, they can be able to distinguish between human voices. It's recently been researched that they are more fearful to men voices. Actually, they'll not be in fear when they hear of women talking. That was research in Amboseli, one of our most researched elephant species that are in Amboseli. I am sure it's by far the most researched elephants on earth, because it began way, way early in the late 70s. So you find that when elephants are walking through the neighboring settlements, Lauren, I think the reason why elephants are missing the tails here is because, one, it can be due to predation, or sometimes when elephants are fighting off each other, because remember, elephants have teeth. You can see how they're placing the food into their mouth. So those molars can also inflict injuries. They can actually chop off the tails. So it can either be chopped off by other elephants when they're playful, when they're biting each other on the tails, because that is a behavior that I've witnessed, especially at water holes. So it can be predators or other elephants. Like I just told you earlier, we have about 3 elephant families that are close to here. So the knowledge of the matriarch is so important, because her social status shows and can recognize which matriarchs can be, which other elephants are friendly and which are to be avoided. So for example, when the bulls walk too close to the calves, they can tell which ones to be avoided, which ones are friendly, and which families to be avoided, because like us humans, they also have stress, they're social, they have personalities. So the matriarch has that intelligence to tell which ones are friendly and which are not.
Hi everyone, and good morning. I know we've been absent for a while, but we've been adventuring around trying to see what's happening elsewhere in the reserve, because we always are at the dam and there's always animals here, but we thought there's got to be something elsewhere. Saw some impalas, saw some babies, saw a few other elephants, but on the whole, on this rather cold and dreary summer's morning, most of the animals seem to be hiding. I wonder if they know something that we don't. Well, everyone, this is turning out to be quite a lovely day, though. It's nice to always watch the elephants. Hi, my name is Mike. Behind the camera is BK, and you've joined us at Ecotraining's Pridelands Conservancy. Rather late in the morning, I suppose. But better late than never. And it's always nice to just have the elephants coming to the dam. Oh, there's a zebra as well coming down now. Well, I suppose we should have just come here first. Seems like all the animals are. I'm going to start coming down. Oh. It's not often that you see an animal make a little misstep like that. Slipped over that little log. Checking carefully for signs of danger before approaching. The nice thing is that with all these elephants around, it's probably going to be quite safe. They're very large and intimidating animals, so most others would keep their distance. Not that they're paying much attention right now. They're all very focused on what they're doing in the dam. All of these are bulls, by the way. Some are younger, some are older, but all of them are male elephants. Massive groups of them. Oh, I think I might have just lied to you. I think that one in the water on the left might actually be a female. It's difficult to tell because I see a couple of fairly young bulls that really are... Oh no, the poor zebra got chased by an elephant. This elephant just came storming through, charged up at that zebra. The zebra ran off. but it seems like they've figured out their differences. The zebra's going to keep coming down to the water. It's interesting, it's going to have to come down quite close to all that mud, which is not great for the zebra, because it can maybe get its feet stuck in that mud as you watch it as it walks over, which it has to be very careful. If something like a lion or a predator would rush out at the zebra right now, it would be quite dangerous because it can easily stumble or misstep and end up slipping and hurting itself. Algebra girl, I have heard elephants with blocked noses before, where you could literally hear that they were struggling to breathe through the nose, and sometimes when they try and trumpet, it sounds muted. So I definitely think that they can get a cold. I've never heard one sneeze before, which is something I'd really like to experience at some point. Hopefully not when it's too close to us. I suspect that they can have quite an explosive sneeze. Oh, the zebra didn't even come down and drink. It's deciding to move off. But yes, I think, so, elephants have got huge bodies, so it takes a long time for them to heat up or cool down, but once they are either of those things, it takes also a long time for them to change. So even though we felt a bit chilly this morning, the elephants were probably just fine. It would take quite a while for them to start feeling the chill. You see the zebra navigated itself all the way around to the other end of the dam, just avoiding most of the mud. But it's also in a bit of a tricky position now, because if a predator happens to pop its head over the dam wall, it will see the zebra very close, and that could also be quite risky for that zebra. Well, anyway, so far so good. See if anything else happens.
So welcome back to our Mara elephants, and look at how close they are to our vehicle. So the matriarchs have communicated. The matriarch has said it's time to move on. Maybe time to go and drink in the mud bath. I can see one elephant actually spraying his body with mud. Very, very nice to see. Just want to position you where you can see the elephant dung spraying, mud spraying to his body, which is always a nice behavior to witness. That is one way of cooling off. Sometimes they can also spray their bodies with water and mud. But mud is also a very important feature in their cooling off.
These elephants here look like the youngest of the bunch. Almost too young to really be part of a bachelor group like this. But then again, it's always very difficult to tell when they're in the water just how big or small they are, especially because there's some shallow sections and some deeper sections. But these ones definitely look a bit smaller, especially the two on the left. Look quite a little bit smaller than the others. I wonder if maybe they're at that teenage age where they're starting to get pushed out of the herd. And so they're spending more and more time away from the mother and the sisters and the younger elephants, spending more time with the bulls. And they're all basically staying around this dam. And they can communicate over huge distances, so I'm sure it would be easy enough for them to find their way back to the herd. But eventually they'll get moved out. They'll spend all their time with the big boys. Oh man, every single time I'm here and I watch these elephants, I always wonder how is it that they don't really hurt themselves or each other with those tusks. What on earth is that elephant doing? Do you see that one, BK? This one was doing a very strange thing. I want to see if it does it again. Jerry, I've never seen an elephant choke on water, but I suppose it's possible. You know, it's just like, you know when you're swimming or showering or something and you breathe up in your nose and the water goes right into your nose and you just get this terrible pain in your sinus and you have to sort of sneeze out the water. So I think it can probably happen with elephants too. Their nose is a lot longer, so it would take a lot more effort for that to happen. I've never really seen it, but it could. So this one elephant, I think, was just enjoying blowing bubbles and bobbing its head. It was like doing a weird thing that I've never seen an elephant do before. It almost looked like it was, dancing to some music. I was making a joke to BK earlier that there must be two different species of elephants here, because we've seen grey elephants, and then all the other elephants, well, like at the moment, every elephant that's dry has this red colour, and it's because of the earth is very iron rich in this area, and so there's a lot of red coloration in the soil. That's the rust, the iron oxide, and so when they throw the dirt on themselves, they turn this reddish, rusty brown colour, which is quite interesting. You'll see it often in different parts of Africa, where you see elephants, for example, in Namibia, in Etosha. The ground there is full of calcrete or calcium, and so you'll find when they throw mud on themselves, they turn white in colour. It almost looks like someone's literally painted them white. And in other places, the mud is very dark, and the elephants will be almost black in colour. I think that's also to do with why you get some people thinking that with the rhinos, when there's black and white rhinos, that it's to do with the colour, but the colour's got nothing to do with the rhino and everything to do with the surrounding environment and the dirt. This bigger elephant now coming into the water to join the rest, having a little bit of play. So look at the colour difference there. The ones that have been playing in the water, very dark, and the one that was out, super light and red colour, full of that iron oxide. See, that elephant there's got very small tusks, the one on the left. It's purely genetic, nothing to do with the age necessarily. Solomon, elephants can range in size. I'd say, generally speaking, a female elephant, when she's as big as she gets, more or less, would probably be about 4 tons, maybe up to 5 tons if it was a really big female. Male elephants generally about 7 tons is the average sort of a fully adult weight when they get in their late 40s. But there is a record of an elephant. I can't remember where it was. I think maybe it was in Angola or something a long time ago, which was 11 tons, 11,000 kilograms. What is that in pounds? Maybe like over 20,000 pounds. That's crazy. That's a massive elephant, huge elephant. It's very unusual for them to get that size. And of course, they say elephants will grow their whole life, getting bigger and bigger and stronger, and that is true to a certain extent. But once they start losing their teeth, they might get older, but they struggle to feed and get enough to sustain themselves, because they only grow a limited amount of teeth in their whole life. I think it's 7 sets, 6 sets. I can never remember that. That's one fact that always eludes me. But once those sets of teeth are completely gone, then the elephant won't be able to feed effectively anymore. They've got a terrible digestive system as it is. Only about 40% of what they eat actually gets digested. The rest passes through. Which is why we use the elephant dung for so many things. Like if we burn it, there's still herbs in there that can smolder and create beautiful, nice smelling smoke. And that's why many fruits as well get picked up by squirrels from being in the digestive tract of an elephant. It's not digested yet. It's been maybe cracked open and crushed by the teeth, but still there for the squirrels and other animals to pick through. I've actually eaten a marula fruit that had passed through an elephant's digestive system before. It was delicious. I wouldn't do it again, though. It was a dare. It was very juicy and soft and very well sort of squashed up, but it was not at all broken. The skin was completely intact. the only reason I would have done it. I know people say that you can get moisture from an elephant's dung if you were really desperate. I tell you what, you'd have to be super desperate. Bernard, I think they would. If it was a tiny, tiny elephant, it might happen that a big crocodile would, attack them. It would be very unusual, especially with all the adults around. Like this kind of a situation here, more likely what would happen is a crocodile would be trying to avoid the elephants, and the elephants might step on it, and then it would snap at the elephant. And I've seen videos and images of elephants trying to drink, and a crocodile snapped at their trunk and then been flung up into the air. So it would be a very silly crocodile that would try and attack an elephant of this size. They would almost certainly get really, really badly injured. They've got powerful jaws, though, so I'm sure elephants have lost the tips of their trunks to crocodiles before, but it would be an unusual event. Oh, look, there's a warthog that's come down now, and he's about to start. It looks like he wants to snuffle up some of the dirt and maybe churn it up to have a bit of a mud wallow. Well, he's very far away, and the light is very dull. Oh, he's just having a bit of a drink. So a warthog would definitely be, and this is a big warthog. Look at the tusks on that thing. You can see actually there's two sets of tusks. There's the ones on the top jaw and there's ones on the bottom jaw as well. Now the bottom jaw's tusks are sometimes known as tushes, and they are very, very, very sharp. And that is the weapon that they use to defend themselves. The top ones are more for fighting for females and defending themselves against, other warthogs. Also, a protective shield if they're ever attacked from the front by something like a leopard. But certainly it's the bottom ones that are really the weapons. Top ones are more for intimidation. And those warts, the big warts on the side of its head, that's protection as well. Not from predators, but from fighting with other warthogs. Strong animal, powerful little creature. So overlooked. Many a leopard has been badly injured and even beaten, maybe even killed. Not directly, but indirectly by injuries from warthogs. Very, very alert. This might actually be the same warthog that we witnessed sharing a den with the clan of hyenas. I don't know if you saw about a month ago, we filmed this amazing interaction between the warthogs where they almost touched noses. Well, this one almost touched noses with some of the hyenas and actually escorted the female warthogs to the den, the burrows. It was very interesting to watch. I'd never witnessed it before. Apparently it has happened occasionally. And even though, a hyena is a formidable animal, second, I guess, on the hierarchy of predators, the warthog didn't seem to have any fear at all. Becky, warthogs are not ordinarily dangerous to humans. I mean, they're pretty skittish animals, as you can see. They jump and they run away from stuff quite often. When a warthog would be dangerous to humans is if they lose their fear of humans, if they become very habituated, and then you start to get closer to them. Often is the case if you feed these animals. So that's why we always tell people never feed animals, because they become dependent on it, and then it might become aggressive if it doesn't get fed. And otherwise, another thing that we always tell our students and guests on safari, especially if we're on walks, never walk in front of a warthog burrow, because what might happen is the warthog might get a fright, rush out of the burrow, and in doing so knock you over, and those very sharp tushes might slice you up, and that would not be very pleasant. Actually had a pet. When I used to live in Zimbabwe. I was born in Zimbabwe. I used to have a pet called Life. It was a dog, quite a slender, big dog. And he chased a warthog into a burrow. Got terribly injured. A hyena could definitely, that's a great question, because we saw the hyena and the warthog interaction. A hyena could kill a warthog. But remember, hyena's strength is really in their teamwork and coordination, especially if there's a big clan. So now, if a hyena was very hungry, it could coordinate with other hyenas to trap and capture a warthog. But one-on-one, it's a terribly strong opponent, like a very dangerous animal to try and catch. Remember, everything is about cost versus reward. The cost of being injured by a warthog is, or the chance of being injured is quite high, so the cost will be very high. The reward could also be great, because a warthog is quite a big, strong animal, lots of meat on it. But an impala lamb would be much easier, much less meat, but almost zero chance of being injured by an impala. A nice little chance for a dust bathing session now. Look at that big elephant bull just moving through there. And, just like everything is about power levels in the bush, that big elephant is much more powerful, so the others will always move out of the way. I know, warthogs are not to be messed with. I tell you what, I've seen warthogs chase cheetahs off carcasses before. Because a cheetah is not a very formidable animal. I mean, it's well designed for what it does, which is to chase down small animals and catch them at speed. But to defend a carcass, even against a warthog, is almost impossible for a cheetah. They just don't have sharp claws or very big teeth or lots of muscles to intimidate. And warthogs will just run straight in there. I feel like I've seen a video of a warthog even attacking a leopard when the leopard tried to catch its youngsters. The warthog just came tearing in there, bowling over the leopard, almost throwing it up into the air. I think the leopard did manage to escape with one of the youngsters, but it was probably a very close call. As you can see now, a lot of the elephants are starting to make their way out of the water. Time for a bit of a dust bathe and maybe go for a bit of breakfast. Lovely.
What an interesting behavior there. Where the elephants are sunbathing, while here we have elephants that are mud bathing. You can see these two actually on the ground scratching their bellies off, plastering their bodies with mud. So it's a role of the matriarch who pick a spot where it's suitable for them to mud bath. You can see that young one busy scratching his stomach and pestering his body with mud. Mud bathing increases the body cooling by 8 times much better than cooling off with water. So this is the ritual that always perform every day, and after doing that they'll pick a stump where they'll go and scratch against to get rid of ticks and other bugs on their body. As the mud sticks off and dries off, it will create a protective layer like a sunscreen that will protect them from the biting insects and also the sun. See, the youngster has joined in, watching the mother how it's done. That little one is so much trying. How cute is this?
We absolutely Ferrari safaried here from the very eastern side of Buffelshoek. We had some dogs, but unfortunately it was just far too far for us. So we Ferrari safari to the Wig's house. Now, I know some of you are concerned, I'm aware of that we haven't seen Olivia, because I check every single day, as you know. And I also can't see her. We can see a parent, or a parent's back. I'm not sure if it's mom or dad. So I don't know what to say at this stage. Olivia seemed to go walkies. She was obviously a lot more stable on her feet than we realise, and she moved herself from her original nest site. But I don't imagine, I think this is Mum, and I don't imagine Mum would sit on this, I think it's a Tamboiti tree, without Olivia being nearby. I'm thinking that we just can't see her. She's shifted into the vegetation. The weather's changed, remember? We've had lots of rain, it's overcast, and it's cold. So I'm wondering, I don't think we have enough time today, but this afternoon, we're down in the Mulwati. If we position ourselves up on Twin Dams Road, looking down on the embankment, I'm wondering if we can spot her. But please don't worry, I will update you every single day on Olivia. Jerome, you're asking, do I think the parent would move her? I don't think the parent can. They communicate verbally, but I don't think Mum or Dad can really move her. They're raptors. Owls can be classified as raptors. They seize with their talons. So I don't think they would be able to pick Olivia up and move her without risking injury. She's still very small and fragile. And owls' talons are very, very sharp. They're weapons. That's how they seize their prey. So I think she's still here, and humans, including myself, are notorious for panicking a little bit too early. We all panicked about Corky's daughter. We all panicked about this. We all panicked about that. Because it's natural. It's human instinct. We care so much. So I think at this stage, this afternoon I'm going to come back. It'll be a different time of day. And we'll park in a different position and see if we can get any view of her. We won't disturb her, but as long as we can see some grey down of some sort and we know that she's still there, then we can put our mind at ease. Tyler, you're asking, do owls perform something for their young? A contact call, yes, they do. There's a contact call. Sorry, I didn't make that word out there. Mum calls to young or Olivia. Olivia calls back. And we watched it happen a lot with Sebwig last year. And Sebwig did move as well. Another reason I don't want anyone to be concerned. I promise, I don't have the answers right now, but I promise I will come back in the afternoon and we'll look, we'll search. And we'll update you, as we always do, because I think we've all sort of grown to love Olivia. But what's nice about looking at the adult here is you can see the tail feathers. We don't normally get to see them. You see it. Maybe Theo can give us a nice close look. These are called the retrices. Not all feathers are the same. I mean, a feather's a feather, but there's different types of feathers, and these are the retrices. Or you can call them tail feathers. And they're very, very rigid and structured. They're not sort of soft and flimsy like down feathers. And this is because they're used in steering and stabilizing during flight. You see that? Very rigid. And they need them to be because they're like a rudder, a steering rod. And normally they have some melanin in them. They're normally darker in most birds because that strengthens them. Melanin is a pigment that's very strong. And you can see the bars there, nice barred pattern. I don't think it's quite black, but it's a very dark brown. And that probably assists in strengthening the feathers a little bit more. So although we can't see Olivia right now, it's nice to get a sort of bottom view of the adult. We don't normally see the tail feathers. And I think because it has got its back to us, I say it, I think it's Mum, that Olivia's on the other side. I think, and I hope. Please don't worry, everyone. We absolutely will get the answers for you. But I think because Mum's facing that way, Olivia's just somewhere we can't see. But I promise I will check this afternoon. The vegetation is just so dense now, and the thicker the vegetation always makes it a little bit tricky for us to get signal as well. So that could be another reason that we couldn't get the best signal with Tandy and Son today. Look, quickly, a little bee eater. Over here, Theo. We haven't got much long, but you see the bird? A little bee eater sitting right where Olivia... Oh, no! maybe we're not going to end on that after all. Well, thank you everyone for jumping on board. It's always a pleasure. Please do jump on this afternoon. Bye for now.